Okay, I just had to do that. Uh, so this is my review of Hereditary, and I know that this film came out a while ago, and I put off seeing it for a really long time for the simple reason that I do not like horror. Yeah, I will just flat out admit that I was never a big fan of horror films. Recently, I've started to see a few more horror films, but it is weird because never a big fan of the genre. Some people like to be scared. I respect that. I don't like to be scared. Uh, and so this movie came out. Everyone was praising it. Everyone was praising Toni Collette. Everyone said this might be an Oscar thing. I waited for a really long time, and then finally the Gotham nominations came out a while back. I was planning to see this on Halloween, but my dad decided he wanted to do a family movie on Halloween, so we watched Paranorman, which haven't seen that in years. It actually really holds up. Like, check that one out. But anyway, so a couple of days later, I'm like, okay, I gotta do this. Gotta watch Hereditary sooner or later. Especially since Carson T. Morrissey in his streams has recommended the film multiple times, so I'm like, okay, this ought to be good. And I think the main reason I was so reluctant to see it is because everyone's reviews, they said it was good. They're like, oh, this one's really creepy, like with A Quiet Place. So I saw that film earlier, and I think Quiet Place is the better film because it's a good horror film, but it's not primarily horror. Primarily, that movie is a family drama with horror elements to it, and that's why I think it works. It's more emotional than it is scary. Uh, so I really liked that film, and I was curious how the two movies would compare because it's two big horror movies of 2018. Usually, there's only one that is an Oscar contender, but this year there was two. So my conclusion after seeing the film is pretty much what everyone was saying, which is it is a legitimately good movie, but it's going to give me nightmares for a week. Like, I know I'm going to get nightmares from this, and I'm not looking forward to it. This is a really, really creepy movie. But with that said, I don't love it the way a lot of people do. And I think the reason for that, so this might be kind of getting into spoiler territory. If you want to see the film, but if you like horror, you should. It's good performances, great directing, and a really, really creepy atmosphere. So that's very, very well done. If you want to see it, go see it. I won't stop you. But the main reason that I was not as big a fan of this movie as a lot of people seem to be was early on, the film sets up the build-up in the first half, or maybe the first two acts, is really, really good. The build-up for much of the movie is very good. It starts off very slow-paced, and it takes a while for things to get going, which a lot of horror movie fans might complain about, but I think it was a very good decision. And for a lot of the time, we're just stuck with this family, this severely messed up family, and it's very intense to be with this family, and it's very intense to watch just the conversations between them. And as the stakes get higher and higher, as things get more and more complex, you're gripped, you're stuck with it, and it's really, really intense. But my problem is, once you see what it all amounts to at the very end of the film, the ending, I don't know if it, for me at least, I don't think it necessarily felt earned. Because, okay, I'm gonna kind of get into spoilers. So, it's one of those movies where for much of it you're like, oh, is this real or is it just in their heads? And I like horror films that do that, but I think the problem comes at the ending because this movie was doing such a good job at exploring the family dilemmas, and the family in this movie is so messed up, it's disturbing just to be in the same room with them and just to witness a lot of the danger that was going on. Not even supernatural stuff, just real family dilemmas that we can relate to and can make us ask, well, what would I do in that situation? That's what's scary about it. It makes you wonder, what if that was me? What if I saw that? What if I was responsible for this happening? Like, it really gets you thinking, and that's what makes it so scary. But once you get to the end, once you see what it all amounts to, it's like, oh, all that family drama, it was all secretly masterminded by these demons who were from hell and are trying to resurrect and are trying to exorcise, possess this hell demon, whatever they threw in at the end. And it just, I was concerned at first. I was like, was that supposed to be a hallucination? At the very, very end of the movie, I'm trying to keep it vague, but people online were like, no, that's what the note we're ending on. And it just feels so disconnected from the rest of the movie, and maybe that was the point, but it just didn't feel earned. It didn't feel like the proper thing of what it was building up to. And there have been movies in the past that have a lot of payoff, a lot of build up and disappointing payoff. So it's nothing new. And I don't know, I guess I wanted something a little bit better, but I don't know if I would call this a bad film, because there are some movies where there's a lot of build-up and a weak payoff, and the payoff just ruins it. There was a movie back in 2016 called The Fits, and I absolutely adored that film right up until the last minute, and then I hated it, because the payoff was just awful. And this is kind of a similar, it's not quite as bad. I think the movie is on a very similar level to The Witch, which came out in 2015, and Anya Taylor-Joy movie. If you saw that, then you probably know what to expect. And I like it. There's not a lot of horror movies that really stick out to me in my mind. There's ones I remember, ones I go back and watch again, and the ones that do tend to be the ones that are not primarily horror. Like, it's the same thing with, say, a comedy. Some people watch funny movies just to watch a movie that's going to make you laugh. I prefer it when a movie is about story and characters and saying something, and it also makes you laugh. And it's the same thing with horror. I prefer when a movie has interesting characters, an interesting story, and makes you question things, and it also scares you. And I think movies like The Sixth Sense, Jaws, Black Swan, and A Quiet Place accomplish this. Even Get Out, even though I didn't love the movie the way a lot of people did, I get what they were trying to do because it was trying to make a political statement. And this film, I don't know, it just, when the ending happened, it just felt very disconnected from the rest of the film. And I'll say this, very good performances, very good directing. Toni Collette, I'm not 100% sold that she could be nominated, but it wouldn't, like, it could happen, but I highly doubt it at the moment. I would not have her in my 5, maybe put her in a 10. We'll see what happens. But outside of that, maybe this might get a cinematography nomination or for sound design. I don't know what this is going to do in the Oscar race, but it's weird. Normally this would be the part where I say I'm glad I saw it, but I'm not really sure. Ask me in a week, and I'll tell you how the nightmares were. Because I feel like this is going to be one that sticks with me, which... This was a first-time director, Ari Aster, I believe, and they did an amazing job. So definitely hire that director again. But, yeah, and it's fine. If you love this movie, go ahead. Some people might be turned off because it's not a traditional horror film, because it's very slow-paced. I like movies like that, but I just wish it was building to something better. So that's pretty much my review of Hereditary. You can see it if you want, or don't. I'm late for dinner right now, actually, so I'll just leave you on that. So thank you for watching. See you next time.